Hello, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Wingervasio, and today we're going to be covering Chapter 3, Lesson 3.3, Solving Equations Using Adding or Subtracting. We've already spoken about what an expression is, so today we're going to talk about equations, what it is, and how you solve an equation. Reference pages to this can be found in our Google Classroom Title 3.3 textbook. And don't forget, you will need to, as a reminder, write down 3 important facts for today's lesson from this video. Let's go ahead and get started with some vocabulary. So we're going to start off with talking about equations. An equation is a math problem that simply has an equal sign. Anytime you see a math problem that has an equal sign, that's an equation. Well, we've worked with in the last few lessons were expressions. They did not have an equal sign. So those were expressions. Now, two equations are equivalent equations when you have the same solution. So when you have something that has the same solution on one side and the other side, that means you have an equivalent equation. Now, today what we're going to do is we're going to be solving for the variable of an equation. So to do that, you'll need to know what inverse operations are. So as a reminder, inverse operations are if you have a positive, the inverse opposite of that would be a negative, or plus, opposite that would be minus, okay? And vice versa. Minus, opposite would be plus. So let's go ahead and start off with our first example on solving equations. Now again, when you're solving an equation, you're basically trying to isolate and get the variable by itself. So starting with example A, I see that we have an x. So what we're going to do is we're going to solve for that x. How do you get that x by itself? Now to get that x by itself, I notice there's a minus 5 that's there that we want to get rid of, and then this will be by itself. So to do that, you need to know what the inverse of minus 5 is. So I'm going to put the inverse of minus 5 is going to be plus 5. Now, if I do plus 5 to this side, I'm going to do what's called a train track. I'm going to do plus 5 to the other side. Now, the reason why I do the train tracks is because I want to show that I'm balancing out my equation. Again, what you do to one side, you do to the other side of the equal sign. So I'm going to draw my line. Now, since we have a negative 5 plus 5, that's going to cancel each other out, because if you have a negative 5, then you have $5 more. Now you're at a zero balance. Now, even though we're at a zero balance, you don't need that zero, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring down the x. So we have x equals, and then we can go ahead and solve the negative 1 minus plus 5. Remember, whatever's in front, you follow the sign. So it's negative 1 plus 5 again. Write out the problems to the side if you need to see it just like I'm writing. So negative 1 plus 5 is going to be a 4, because big number subtract small number. It's a positive 4 because the signs are different. Now, I have the solution of x equals 4. Now, to make sure that my solution is correct and equal, I can do what is called the check method. So I can write down the problem again. So I have here x minus 5. And what I can do now, every time I see an x, I can plug in, I can go ahead and plug in a 4. So x minus 5 should equal on the other side negative 1. So let's see. We have a negative 1 here, so this side should be a negative 1. 4 minus 5, does that give us negative 1? Yes, it does. So our answer to our problem letter A is correct. So this is the correct solution. Check. All right, let's go ahead and do letter B. So in letter B, now we have Z. How do I get Z by itself? Again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate and get Z by itself by doing the inverse of this fraction 3/2. What's the inverse opposite of 3/2? If you said negative 3/2, you are correct. So I have negative 3/2. And then whatever to do to one side, I have to do it to the other side. Again, equations, you have to make sure they're balanced. It's kind of like a seesaw. Okay, so if I have the same numbers, one is a positive, one is a negative, it's going to cancel each other out. It's because it's kind of like the tile examples we've done in class. They cancel each other out. So we have here Z equals 1/2 minus 3/2. So can we just go ahead and subtract that? Let's take a look. We have here a 2 at the bottom and a 2 at the bottom. So yes, we can. Since the denominator is the same, we can go ahead and just subtract them. And why am I subtracting? Because whatever's in front, I follow. So let me go ahead and highlight something for you. So basically what we're doing is 1 minus 3. What is 1 minus 3? So 1 minus 3. 1 minus 3. 1 minus 3 is going to be a negative 2. So our denominator we said was a 2. So we're going to go ahead and carry that 2. So now we have, let me write that as a z. Now we have negative 2 over 2. Now that is our answer, but a better answer we can say is negative 2 over 2 is really going to be negative 1. So our answer would be negative 1. Okay, to check to see if we are doing this correct, we can do what's called again the check method. We're going to go ahead and rewrite the problem out. So we have here z plus 3 over 2. So I'm going to go ahead and put z plus 3 over 2 equals 1/2. Now, if it's 1/2 on this side, what we do to this side should be also 1/2 to have an so that way we have an equivalent equation. And also that makes us certain that this answer is correct. So z was -1. Now if z is -1, this side should be 1/2. Z plus 3 over 2. So I have here -1/2 plus 3 over 2. Now let's make this a fraction so we can solve. Now, since this is not the same denominator, I have to make sure they're the same denominator. And I notice the common denominator would be 2 and 2. So 2 and 2. Now, 1 times what is going to be 2? 1 times 2. So 2 times -1 is going to be -2 on top. Plus. And then 2 times what is 2? 2 times 1. So 1 times 3 is 3. So now we have this problem. -2 plus 3. What is -2 plus 3? Signs are different. Subtract and carry the sign of the larger number, so +1. And same denominator means I just carry that. And I notice that, and there's our equal sign, both of these sides of the equations are a half. So our solution of -1 was correct. Again, you don't have to necessarily use this method on this right-hand side, the check method, but it does help to see if your answers are correct. I would recommend that though when you're doing your homework later and your test and quiz later on this chapter. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and have you try on your own. So go ahead and take out a piece of paper and go ahead and do problems 1, 2, and 3. Pause the video, solve the problem, and write down your answer. And this will be done on a separate sheet of paper, don't forget. Okay, now let's go ahead and have us try example 2, writing the equation with a story problem. So as we mentioned in our class about the terms more than and less than, it's kind of a tricky word. So don't forget the arrow that that shows you the more than and the less than. And as a reminder, more than should represent a plus, and less than, since it's less, should represent a minus. So let's go ahead and read the story problem. A company has a profit of $750 this week. So what I like to do is I like to underline what I know, $750 this week. And it says here, this profit is 900, here's that word again, more than the profit P last week. So we need to write an equation. So we know that we're going to have an equal signs for an equation. There we go. We know that in one of the week it was 750. So we'll go ahead and put 750. And it seems like we're going to compare another week. So this week and last week. So this week would be here. Last week could be right there. And it says this profit is 900 more than the profit P last week. So this could be 700 this week, 900 last week. But it says 900 more than. So again, what does more than mean? Plus. More than what? P last week. So we'll put P in the front. So 900 more than. More is plus. So let's take a look to see which equation here represents the one below. And I noticed that B is our winner. Again, 900 more than P last week, and this was this week. So our correct answer would be B. Okay, go ahead and try example number 4 on your own. Go ahead and pause the video, solve the problems, and write down your answer. Again, don't forget about the keywords more than and less than. And I already see one right here. There's a hint for you. Okay? All right, example 3, real life application. So I have here, it says here a video game scoring of two buddies, you and a friend. So it says here, the line graph shows the scoring while you and your friend played a video game. Write and solve an equation to find your score after level 4. So we'll need to first look to see where level 4 is at. And I notice that level 4 is just right here, because our levels are on the x-axis and our scores are on the y-axis. So level 4 happens to be right here. Let me go ahead and put a marker right there. Okay, and it says here, we want to know what is your score after level 4. We already know your friend's score. It seems like your friend is right here and you're right there. So between you and your friend, you guys are a difference of 33 points. So since you know that your friend's score is 33 points below you, because this is you, that's your friend. Between here is 33 points. It seems like their score is lower than yours, 33 points. So your friend's score is 33 points. So I'm going to put 33 points. And since it is less than your score, I'm going to put the word less than. 33 less than, okay? Now, we can let S represent represent your score. So again, what I'm doing is I'm just writing down some information that will help us to write an equation. And then what do we know also right now? Let's see. It seems like we know that -8 could represent, it represents, let's see, that's your friend. So -8 represents your friend's score. So we'll put -8 as one side of the equation, and then on this side of the equation, we can make it represent your score. Okay, so what do we know about your score? It is going to be 33 points more. So we can say S right here is your score, okay? And since this is 33 less than, we can say 33 less than, so minus. So if we want to know what your score could be, what we can do is we are going to solve for S. So to solve for S, what I can do is I can take the S and take it by itself by moving that 33. So let's look at that 33 as a whole number. And that 33 represents a positive, or I'm sorry, a negative 33. So the opposite of negative 33 will be positive 33. And the reason why I'm putting a positive 33 is so I can get S by itself. So if we do positive 33 to that side, we have to do it to this side. Now, this cancels because it's the same number and same term, opposites of each other, so they cancel. And so now you have S. And so to solve this, -8 plus 33, the signs are different, subtract. And when I subtract, that's 25 and carry the sign of the larger number, so that's a positive 25. So it ends up saying that your score is 25 points. So you got 25 points for your score, and that's a difference from here to here is 33 points. Okay? All right, so that completes our lesson for today. Go ahead and make sure that you have all of your on your own questions completed. And then in our last slide, if you can go ahead and finish our last on your own, number 5, pause the video, solve the problems, and write down your answer. All right, so throughout this lesson, we had here 3 examples. Now I have the exit ticket for you to try. I have 2 exit ticket, one right here and one right here. So if you can go ahead and just solve for P for the first one and solve for M for the second one, pause the video, solve the problems, and write down your answer. Okay, and we'll go ahead and discuss this tomorrow.